We continue with Deliberate Success with Greg Pinio.
Here's one that's huge. For me, this is huge. I live with a sense of urgency. I don't waste time. This might be my most passionate point, so stay with me here. It's my peeve in life because we have humanity wasting itself away in brainless, useless activity. I have no place for that in my life. None. Zero. What is the meaning? To fill your minute with 60 seconds of distance run. Kipling. To fill your minute with 60 seconds of distance run. Not fill your day, fill your minute. We think, it's just a minute. Yeah, it's just a minute. What if it were your last minute? You'd fill it with 60 seconds of distance run, wouldn't you? Now I'm going to give you the adjective that he puts in front of the word minute. Kipling, to fill the unforgiving minute. Why is it unforgiving? You'll never get it back. It's gone. There's no saying, please forgive me and give it back. Time is unforgiving. It's gone, it's gone. Way back in college, Thoreau, I went to the woods because I wanted to live deliberately. Somehow that stuck. I've only signed my name 85 million times in my life, living deliberately, Greg. Proactively, on task. I know what I want. I'm going in that direction. Boy, I'm embarrassed sometimes to see what I see. And I can't help but getting involved. I want you to think about your time. If this were your last hour, would you live it differently? I used to have my students write, if this were your last day, who would you call? What would you say? And then when they turn in their paper, I'd hand one sentence back, and all it would say is, why are you waiting? I would like to think that I live every day of my life as if it's my last day. I say what I mean. I'm direct. I'm going to be good to me. I'm going to try to stand people up around me as best I can. Okay? Calvin Coolidge, nothing can take the place of persistence. You've heard that. Nothing is more important than persistence. It says education, isn't it? The world's full of educated derelicts. Genius, isn't it? Unrewarded genius is almost a proverb. Persistence only is omnipotent. Every successful person you will ever read about at some point in that book will say, I was just the last one standing. I just didn't give up. Sam Walton, what's your secret to success, Sam? Quote, well, when I got knocked down, I got back up. Do you realize that we're so much stronger than we give ourselves credit for? We are a bunch of wimps. We give up. We call uncle so easy. Persistence. Do not give up. A lot of people look at me and they look at the real estate portfolio that I have and they think to themselves, Guy, you're just born under a golden star, or you must have a bed that's shaped like a horseshoe or something. You're so lucky. You're so lucky. And yet, what I'm here to tell you is that my greatest quality is that I'm persistent. I just don't quit. Well, that quality really can apply to business. One of the buildings that I purchased, it's a waterfront building on Lake Union. It's an old 12-unit apartment building, nothing so special, and yet it's on 120 feet of waterfront with boat docks out front. And it's so unusual and so different and so one of a kind in Seattle. I declared in the early 80s that I had to have this building. And so I started writing the owner letters every 3 months. Just automatic. I want to buy this building. Please call, please call. He didn't call. 15 years of writing him letters every 3 months. He didn't call. He died. Well, I didn't know he died, but one day I got a call. And the call was from the attorney who was settling his estate. This attorney called and said, Mr. Pinio, I represent Mr. Hoover. You've been writing him letters for 15 years. A lot of letters for 15 years saying you want to buy his building. That's why you're getting this call. Now, I have to tell you, this is not going to be a cakewalk. I've had the building appraised. It's, as you know, an incredibly rare building, a high-in-demand building. It will sell immediately on the open market. There's no question in my mind. I have it appraised at $1.6 million. You're getting the first call because you really seem to want it. So, if you want it, the price is $1.6 million. I need $100,000 non-refundable earnest money in my office by 5 o'clock today. There will be no conditions of any kind. I need you to use this form. Again, Mr. Pinio, it has to close in 28 days. Pass or play. You have till 5 o'clock to have it. Here's my office address. Here's my phone number. Do you have all that information? If I see you by 5 with $100,000 in a deal, I'll sign it. By the way, if you don't close in 28 days, there will be no extensions. I will keep your earnest money and I will put it on the open market. But you get the first call. I'll tell you that in 30 years of buying real estate, that is my single best building. I have turned down offers, even recently, for $4 million on that building that I paid $1,600,000 for. What made that phone ring? Persistence. What makes people who are successful different from a huge majority? Persistence. You remember that childhood toy, the Weeble Wobble? You knock it down, it pops right back up. You remember those old boxing things, those things that have sand in the bottom? We all should have learned this in our childhood. You hit it, what does it do? It comes right back up. Persistence. Stay with it. When you get knocked down, get back up. When you have a vision, stay with it. Stay with it, stay with it, stay with it. Don't give up. Winston Churchill, asked to give the commencement address at a major university, stood up in front of the university, the crowd expecting a long, eloquent commencement address. He simply said this: never quit. Never, never, never quit. That's the whole speech. And he walked off the stage. I ask people all the time a question. It's kind of disturbing. Are you ready? How high does the hurdle have to be before you quit? You need to ask yourself that. What size of obstacle has to be in your way before you give up your dreams? Before you stop doing what it is that you want to do? How high does that hurdle have to be? I love the imagery around a simple little drawing that went around in the mid-'80s. It's a drawing of this stork. It's a beautiful drawing of this stork. And this stork has just grabbed out of the pond water this frog. And all you see are the feet hanging out of the stork's mouth of this frog. The frog legs are hanging out. And there's this bulge in the stork's neck. But what you see is the arms are also coming out of the mouth, and the arms of the frog are reaching down and grabbing the neck of the stork so as to the fact that it can make it so he wouldn't go down his throat. And the caption is, "Never give up." I love the Raiders of the Lost Ark movie. It's my favorite movie of all time. The scene where Harrison Ford, Indiana, gets thrown out the side of the truck. He hits the ground. He rolls over. He grabs his bullwhip. He whips it, grabs the axle of the truck while moving, and starts crawling up his bullwhip to get back in the truck, crawls up, kicks the guy out of the thing, and he's like, "That really pissed me off, getting thrown out of the moving truck." But he just gets back in the truck. How high does the hurdle have to be before you give up? Life is meant to knock us down. It is not easy out there. Everybody I've ever met gets knocked down. I want you to get back up. That's the difference. That is the difference. Get back up. In Reach Returns, we ask a lot of philosophical questions, questions that are intended to challenge the mind. And yet, I was fortunate to have an experience in my life not so very long ago that put this philosophy that I talk about in literal terms. I'd like to share that story with you. I have always loved mountain climbing. Mountain climbing, especially when I was a kid, was a huge part of my life. I've just grown up in the mountains, and I love the mountains. And so I was I was on the team to climb Mount Everest in 2002. And one of our Seattle local companies creates a team, and you submit your application, your resume, and you get qualified, and you're on. And one of the requisites to go to Everest is that you have to climb to 20,000 feet, preferably without oxygen, in the year of your Everest ascent. In order to get on the permit in Nepal, you have to be logged in by the Alpine Association, having climbed 20,000 feet in the year of your Everest bid. Well, this was sort of one of those, packing details that needed to be checked off. Just like get all the right gear. Oh yeah, I've got to climb to 20,000 feet. It's one of those things you have to check off. And so one of the most convenient ways to get that checked off is to go to Bolivia. Bolivia, you fly into La Paz. La Paz is about 10,800 feet all by itself. And there in the Andes of South America, there are a couple peaks that are at or over 20,000 feet. And so it's a convenient place. You fly in, boom, you're at 10.8 already, and you're just getting off the airplane. So we flew into La Paz, myself and one other guy. And he was a young guy, 22 years old, and I was 43 at the time. Yeah, 43. So we get up on the mountain, and we get our gear ready, and we do some shopping in town for some last-minute things we need, and we start heading up. And we head up to a sub-base camp at about 13,000 feet. There's a little climbing hut there. And there we basically hang out for a couple days just to allow our bodies to get used to 13,000 feet. Climbing is all about preparation. And it's a lot like building a house, that you start with foundational principles and then you build, and you build slowly. You can't just go to the top. Matter of fact, if you were able to airlift yourself to the top of Mount Everest, you would die in a minute. Your body would just implode. You have to climatize. You have to get your blood squared away for that altitude. And you have to do it slowly. This particular climb, we had 2 weeks, and we thought that's about as aggressive as you can be to get there and get going. Okay, so we go, we're up there 13,000 feet, and a lot of what you do there is you rest, you get acclimatized, and then you'll take day hikes. And you'll go from 13 to 16 and back down to 13 in a day. And you'll take another climb and go from 13 maybe to 17, and then back down to 13 and stay at the hut. Well, once you feel that you're doing that reasonably and that your body's sort of going along with the program, well, you measure yourself, and then at some point you decide, okay, we're going to go up to 17. We're going to hang out there for a couple days. And so you pack a smaller camp. Your high altitude gear starts coming out of the bag, your high altitude equipment, and you're up, climb around a few glaciers, find a nice little spot in the saddle at 17,000 feet. And once again, you set up and you climatize and you rest and you drink lots of fluids. And you might get up and walk up to 17.5 and come back down. And the next day you might just, without any big pack, or you might go up to 18,000 feet and then come back down. And you'll spend a couple days doing that. Well, it's all a fine line because you don't want to waste too much time because your body needs oxygen, and back at La Paz there's more than up here. So it's a fine line. But finally the night came where we felt like, okay, this is it. The weather looks reasonable. We're going to go for it. A couple days before, it snowed a couple feet. And so there was still about 2.5 feet of fresh snow up there, but we knew we needed to get up early, real early, like you get up at 2 in the morning, and you start climbing at about 3:30 in the morning, because the idea is to take the time you need to get up. Climbing big mountains, getting to the top is usually less of a problem than getting back down before dark. Certainly on Everest, if you've read anything about Everest, getting back down is a much bigger problem than getting up because there's a turnaround time. You've got a window of opportunity to get up and get down. And if you're not far enough up when that time frame hits, you're coming down whether you've summited or not. At least if you're an intelligent climber, that's what you do. So here we go. We're up early and we're taking off. And there's 2 of us, and we have rope between us, and sometimes we're fairly close together, and then in other times we're putting out a little bit more rope because of various safety conditions. And we will trade leads because, of course, the guy in front is actually plowing the trail through new snow, and the guy in back is kind of like drafting. You get a little easier ride in back. And so at this particular part of the trail, I happen to be in back, and we're at about 22,000 feet. Well, let's talk altitude for a minute. You have to sort of put yourself at that altitude to understand it completely. But let me try to describe the feeling of drowning to you, where you cannot get a full breath of air. You feel like you're suffocating. And of course, the harder you're working, the more your heart's pounding, the more air and oxygen is required. And so it really can be rather difficult at those altitudes breathing. And so you have to take it very slow. You learn to just take real shallow breaths. It's, of course, super cold, and you're in this Michelin Man suit, usually wearing a piece of neoprene over your mouth because, the breath will freeze to your face. So a lot of factors involved here, but suffice it to say that we're going slow and that we're working hard, and you just have to find a pace, kind of like a marathon runner. You find a pace and you stay with it. This particular part of the trail, my partner is in front of me. We have about 100 feet of rope between us, and my rope is falling below me to my right. We're on about a 60-degree slope from my left to my right, cutting side hill around this face, getting to a ridge line, and then we're going to hang a left and head up to the summit. And so we're coming across this very steep face in deep snow. You've got an ice axe. You're plunging in front of you. Of course, the guy behind is feeling a greater sense of security because, of course, the guy in front just walked where he is now going. So you get a sense that this trail has already been tested. The guy in front is taking very slow, deliberate measures to plunge his axe in front of him prior to taking a step, to make sure that there's something solid there under the snow, and then taking the step, kicking your step in, and it's very slow and very deliberate. But when you're behind, in this particular situation, I couldn't even see my partner because he's kind of around the curvature of the hill. So I'm watching the rope below me. I've got about 10 feet down and 10 feet up, so about 20 feet of slack line below me. And as the rope advances a little, I advance a little. And as the rope advances, I advance. Well, one of the greatest fears that any climber deals with is the fear that goes through your system when you see your slack line go like this. That will scare the shit out of you, because that just means that your partner in front has gone through a snow bridge and he's falling in a crevasse. Well, that's exactly what happened. And immediately the slack line is taken out, and immediately, because it's hooked to my waist harness in front of me, I'm pulled on my face and off my feet. It happened so fast. I tried to put my axe in front of me, and it just plunged into the snow, and I'm on my face. And I'm being pulled forward towards the crevasse, which he is falling in. And of course now, because I'm on a 60-degree slope, I'm falling down the hill as well. And immediately all of your training, all of that stuff we practice called self-arrest comes into play. And yet on steep slopes and in fresh snow with a pack on and a Michelin Man suit, this suit literally looks like the Michelin Man, 800 fill down suit, this huge poofy suit. It's very awkward and very cumbersome. You don't feel very nimble or athletic. But now time is clicking quickly. He's falling, I'm being pulled to the crevasse, and it's a matter of seconds now that I either have to arrest or I go right in the crevasse with him, and goodbye. It's kind of a sick feeling what goes through your head in that moment. I'm 5,000 miles from home. People know generally what mountain range I'm on and generally what mountain I'm hoping to summit, and that's about it. And all of a sudden, in a flash of time, everything you care about goes through your mind. And you're busy. And all you're thinking of is, I've got to get a bite on something solid. And you roll to your belly, which is a real challenge when you think that the rope is connected to your waist harness, that this rope is pulling you. Your legs are getting tangled up in it. You're trying to free your legs, getting in an arrest position, getting spread eagle while plunging your axe, getting your axe in a position to plunge so that if in fact you do hit something solid, you've got a hold of things to hang on when you do hit something solid. Too many thoughts going on in a very, very quick period of time. But I was able to get a bit of a bite. It was one of those things where you bite and it stalls you for literally, probably not even a full second. But it was just enough to where when that broke, I was able to give one more vertical plunge and I could feel the tip of my axe go into the ice. And I knew I had a reasonable bite, and I was able to put that in with my right hand, do a mini pull-up with my right hand to put my axe in the point of my left elbow. It's called a V-hold. You take your right fist, which is holding the head of your ice axe, you place it in your left elbow, and then you tuck your left fist under your right arm to create a fulcrum point that puts all of the pressure right on your elbow and allows you some leverage to hold not only my weight, but my climbing partner's weight. And of course, at this point, I'm 180 pounds plus gear. I'm about 230 pounds of gear. My climbing partner is about the same. And so you've got 400 and some pounds of weight with one hand hanging onto an axe and all the pressure on your left elbow. The next thing you do immediately is kick in the toe pieces of both of your feet into the ice, cramp on with those pieces, and push up with your legs to try to take some of the pressure off of your arm and your left elbow. And so now you've got a wide stance with your legs. You've got pressure on your elbow. You're at 22,000 feet with your face buried down right by your axe. You can't breathe. And your body starts to do very, very, very strange things. Mentally, I know that Shai, my climbing partner, is in a real interesting position. I can visualize the crevasse he's in because I can feel him trying to swing left and right to find the outer walls of this crevasse. And I could feel the pendulum, just almost like you could feel a halibut on the end of a fishing line. I could feel what he was doing in the crevasse, swinging like on a big rope swing, trying to find himself an outer wall in the darkness, to kick into the outer wall, to plunge with his axe into an outer wall of this crevasse, to lift up, to take the pressure off of me. It's the first thing you do if you're in a crevasse, is you know it's just a matter of time till your partner can't hang on any longer, and you want to get the pressure, the weight off of him. Well, this went on, it seemed endlessly, and finally he gave up trying to find an outer wall. What he was in, we commonly refer to as a V crevasse. It's like an inverted Y or an inverted V. He fell in at the top of the V, but the walls of the crevasse go outward at about 45-degree angles each. And so he's dangling in the middle, and there's no way he can swing far enough to get to an outer wall to take the pressure off of me. And so there he sits, dangling on a fixed line with 100 feet of rope out. I'm 10 feet away from the edge of the crevasse on top. So he's down there 90 feet, down in the hole of darkness. And now it's up to him. All I can do is try to hang on, and all he can do is try to climb a fixed line straight up. Well, there's a maneuver in climbing that we call prussicking. We prussic our way out of such a situation, which essentially amounts in lay terms to tying a couple small ropes onto the fixed line with one-way sliding knots. And so you slide the ropes up, you create stirrups, essentially, like little ladders in these ropes, and you step into the stirrup, you put pressure on it, then you slide the other rope up, you step on that, and then you slide the lower rope up, and you work back and forth, walking up a fixed line. Well, sounds great in theory, and yes, it is the only way you're going to even hope to get out of there. However, it's a very slow, it's a very cumbersome, difficult maneuver, and to prussic your way up 20 or 30 feet is exhausting. To prussic your way up 90 feet at 22,000 feet elevation is nearly impossible. Well, that's his task at hand. My task at hand is real simple. Hang on, cut the line, or let go. I have one of three choices. Well, the ethics of climbing. If your partner's alive, cutting the line isn't an option. Period. End of story. So now I have two choices. Let go, and we die. Probably never to be heard of or seen again by anybody. Or find a way to hang on. Well, remember I started to tell you that at that point your body does some real interesting things. And I'm not a doctor. I don't understand physiology all that well. But I can tell you that things start burning like you've never felt them burn before. And then they go numb. And you wonder, is there any muscles left that's holding this? You start worrying about the fact that they're going to inadvertently just let go. And you're trying to tell your muscles, even though you can't feel them anymore, don't let go. You can't breathe, and yet you have to keep an airway. Well, it's tough to keep an airway when you're vomiting. Real concern. Your body's going through these things and you're throwing up. Well, it's hard to throw up while not being able to breathe in such severe temperatures that when you throw up, it freezes to your face. And if it does, in fact, freeze to your mouth and freeze your mouth shut, well, then you die from that. That's also a problem. So you're making sure that when you're throwing up, that you're spitting it out so that it doesn't freeze to your lips and shut your mouth. It's so cold up there, it freezes instantly. Your body starts shaking. Your body goes into things that you never knew it could do. And yet in your mind, all you can think of is how simple the choice is right now. Find a way to hang on, or everything you wanted to come home to, you're not coming home to. And so you start thinking about what you live for. Very few people get this experience in life or anything like it. And I feel fortunate to have had it. But in that moment, I didn't just ask the questions, I answered the questions. I've got 3 beautiful children. I've got a beautiful wife. I love my life. I love my friends, my family. And all of a sudden, when faced with such a clear decision, you find a way to hang on. You ignore what's going on logically, and your mind makes the decision that you have no decision to make. You just hang on. An hour and 10 minutes, this went on. And after an hour and 10 minutes, I felt the weight go off. I need to tell you that I wasn't sure in that moment if the weight was off me or if I'd blacked out and was falling. I wasn't certain. I just knew that something changed and my body felt a little different. And it actually scared me. But then I felt these aggressive pats on my back that just kept pounding me, and this declaration I'll never forget. It's all good. It's all good. Nice arrest. It's all good. And all I could think to myself is, it's not all good. But I'm alive. And you're alive. What do you hang on for? Have you let go? Have you let go of something that was so important to you because somebody said you couldn't hang on? Have you given up on something that you didn't want to give up on because somebody said it couldn't be done? I wonder if we even dream anymore because we live in a world of pessimism that says, let go. Somebody else will take care of it. It's not your fault. I want you to reacquaint yourself to those dreams and those places that you want to hang on for. You remember the first question that started this whole talk tonight? What do you want? What do you want so bad that you will simply not let go of it? We're stronger than we think we are when we're put in a position where we have to perform. I've been in some challenging positions in my life, places I didn't ever want to see. Those of you who have been to our seminars, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Mine has not been a golden path, but I'm still standing. And it is about persistence. Are you willing to work harder and longer? Are you willing to live with the pit in your stomach, not knowing how the hell you're going to make this work? Shri and I were talking about that before. It's like, that's just the way of things when you're starting. That's how it is. Or you live with that sick feeling going, oh boy, we're free falling now. I hope there's some soft down there because it's going to hurt. But that's what persistence does, is you get up and you stay in the arena. Huge. Persistence is everything. I would like you, the last point I'm going to make tonight, to fall in love with the arena. The world's divided into two places. Those who take a cabin passage and those who are out on the deck. Those who are on the arena floor and those who sit in the stands and watch. When you don't start listening to everybody else and you just are clear to your vision, you know what you want, and you're going in that direction. Roosevelt. How can we go through an evening without talking about Roosevelt? It's not the critic who counts. It's not the man who points out how the strong man stumbled or how the doer of deeds could have done them better. Screw them. The credit belongs to the man, the woman who's in the arena, who strives valiantly, who knows the great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends themselves in a worthy cause, who at best, if everything goes right, knows the triumph of high achievement, but at worst, if they fail, at least they fail while daring greatly so that their place will never be among cold, timid souls who know neither victory or defeat. You know, after 30 years, you guys, I'm proud of one thing. I've never crawled up into the stands. And after 30 years, I drink my coffee in the morning with lions all around, and I just look at them like, get away. Because they know they're going to have to kill me to get me to leave. Period. End of story. I want you to fall in love with the arena of your vision. The arena of what it is that you want. And get in there and fight like hell. Get educated. We offer some good education. If you're looking to do real estate and acquisition, you can't afford not to come to what we're doing. Period. You can't. If you want to be a doctor, go be a doctor. You want to be a nurse, do that. You want to run an airline like my brother? Go run an airline. Do it with enthusiasm. Do it passionately. Know your vision. Get in the arena and fight like hell. Fight to the death. Hang on like your life depended on it. We're stronger than we think we are. I'm here to tell you that. You have been so wonderful to let me do my thing tonight. You got to know that for every hour I spend talking about real estate and acquisition, my heart spends 2 hours framing things in philosophical terms because it's there that the engine of action is. Tool belt, absolutely. Knowledge, fluency, got to have it. But the way we think, the way we approach this life is going to mean the difference between us sitting in the stands or living a life full and passion and deliberate. I choose passion. That's what I hope for you.
Thank you for listening to Deliberate Success with Greg Pinio. For more information on this or other Reach Returns productions, including keynote speaking engagements, please contact us at reachreturns.com or call us toll-free at 877-REACH-66. The information on these discs is copyrighted 2004, all rights reserved.